Most of the focus during underwater kicking is on creating a lot of propulsion. Well, that's obviously really important. It's not the only skill that's necessary for creating speed underwater. Just as importantly, swimmers need to learn how to minimize resistance. Let's talk about how. Hi everyone, Adrian here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. I was recently asked, I understand how to help swimmers create more propulsion with their underwater kicking. Can you talk more about what they can do to minimize resistance? It's an important question, and it's one that doesn't get addressed often enough. Propulsion is relatively easy because we can see what the legs are doing. Resistance is a lot less obvious, and as a result, it tends to get ignored. When it comes to minimizing resistance, small differences can result in big changes in speed. However, creating those changes can be a lot more difficult. But if swimmers can make it happen, less resistance means more speed with less effort. The effort piece is really important because that means sustainability. Instead of having one or two really good walls, they can be good off every wall. Let's talk strategies for minimizing resistance when it comes to underwater kicking. First place I'd like to start is with alignment off the wall. And one of my favorite strategies is streamlined bottom jumps. If swimmers can't push off the wall straight, you can forget about them having great alignment during their underwater kicking. Coming off the wall, the spine should be relatively straight. I like bottom jumps because they provide clear feedback, they provide immediate feedback, and they provide objective feedback. The goal here is for swimmers to jump up and down in a streamline and land in the exact same spot. The only way they can do that is making sure that they're really straight with their alignment, because if they're off, if they're arched, if they're bent, when they come back down, they're going to slide out and they're going to land in a different position. So if they can land in the same position each and every time, and they can do so with as few adjustments as possible, they're going to be improving their alignment. And it's the same exact skill that they'll need to execute when they push off the wall. To make sure swimmers are successful, start with really small jumps at really slow speeds, and they should be able to manage the up and down movement without sliding off their line. Then, once they're skilled with that, you can start adding more and more speed and more power to the jumps. Once they're successful there, you can start adding a half twist, you can start adding a full twist, so that they actually have to practice rotating like they will coming off the wall. Then you can start adding some gliding work coming off the wall, and because they've gotten really good at keeping their alignment, they should be really effective at that, and they should be ready to transition that into their regular swimming. If they can do that, they're going to be in a great position to execute great underwater kicks with as little resistance as possible before they even take in the first kick. Next up is managing the amount of amplitude that's used during the kicks themselves. If the amplitude is too small, they'll keep the resistance low, but they won't be able to create much propulsion. And if the amplitude gets too big, they're going to start creating a ton of resistance, even if it allows them to create a little bit more propulsion. The key is to figure out what amount of amplitude is optimal, and unfortunately, it can be a little bit different for different swimmers based upon their skill set and based upon their physical structure. So rather than trying to predict or tell swimmers exactly how much amplitude to use, it's a lot more effective to just let them figure it out. And so you can have them do underwater kicking, working on really high amplitude, working down to low amplitude, starting with low amplitude and working up to high amplitude. From there, you just go back and forth between different ranges of motion and let them figure out what creates speed the most for them. Rather than only doing some sprints, challenging it in a lot of different contexts. Have them do it with really fast kick rates, have them do it with really slow kick rates, and have them do everything in between. That's going to require them to learn how to create speed at different ranges of motion, and then over time, they're going to figure out what's the optimal range of motion for them. By letting them explore and by asking them for performance, they're going to figure it out. The next strategy is magnifying the amount of drag swimmers feel during their underwater kicking. So if we help them learn how to get a great line coming off the wall, we help them figure out the best amplitude for them, we've taken care of a lot of the big picture details. However, the small differences still add up, and we have to figure out how to address them. One of the main challenges is that really small differences in alignment are difficult to see, and they're difficult for swimmers to feel. So to solve that problem, we have to help swimmers create awareness. The most effective way to do that is to actually increase the amount of drag they're experiencing so they can better feel it, so that they can become more aware of the drag, the resistance they're creating as they move underwater. You can use overspeed underwater kicking, specifically with fins, because it allows them to swim a lot faster. The faster they go, the more drag they experience, so they can feel where they're creating pressure on their chest, on their hips, somewhere along their body. And the other strategies, you can have them wear clothing, such as a t-shirt or shorts, which again is going to increase the resistance they feel as they travel through the water. And just as importantly, when you take the clothing off, now they can feel the flow of the water over their body, and that again is going to help them create more awareness of the amount of resistance they're creating on different parts of their body as they travel underwater. And then when you're using fins or having them wear clothing, ask them to perform. Have them kick at different ranges of motion, have them kick at different kick rates, and have them try to create speed in every circumstance. The strategies help them feel where they're creating resistance, and if they can feel it, they can fix it. And if they're asked to perform, they're going to have problems that they're trying to solve, and they can use that awareness to solve those problems. A small amount of this type of work, even just once a week, adds up over time, especially over a career. So underwater kicking is absolutely critical, and reducing drag, minimizing resistance is a critical aspect of going fast underwater. By helping them get a better line off the wall, by helping them figure out the optimal amount of amplitude to use during their kicks, and by helping them learn to feel the small losses of alignment and then change them, we're going to help swimmers go faster underwater and develop a more sustainable kick, which means more speed on the back end. If you want to learn more about how to help swimmers learn to create more propulsion underwater, check out the video here.